So you think that someone can fully love you, but yet have other relationships with other people, and it
Yes,
doesn't matter?
but sex is just sex though. If you don't like the girl, you're more or less kicking her out. Human beings have subconsciously put sex on a pedestal.
Not me talking about sex. God, my parents so much.
I can have sex with someone. I'm just having sex, and it doesn't mean anything to me. Look.
Sex is actually important. Sex is not just
Okay,
sex.
wait. Let me tell you something.
Because guess what? That
Allow
person.
me.
Oh, I was fighting
Allow
today.
me.
Wait. Quick intermission here, but you guys make sure that you're following me on all platforms. Follow me at Instagram at Is It That Deep Podcast. So on Instagram it is underscore it underscore that underscore deep. Please make sure you follow. And you can also follow my Instagram if you want. It's Doyin underscore ADN. And please make sure you're following. So if you're listening on Spotify, click that follow. Please, it really helps me grow. And if you're watching on YouTube, you guys subscribe, like, comment. Like, it helps the algorithm. So please and share this podcast to your friends and family. I'm now on other streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, so you can also see me there. So essentially, if you use Apple Music, go search Is It That Deep. We're there. And yeah, that's all. Thank you guys. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Is It That Deep podcast. I'm doing your host and I'm excited because I have a returning guest with me today, Kelvin Kazi,
Yeah, apparently
I have an
fucked up so
amazing
bad I had
topic.
to come back.
I mean, you didn't fuck up. I think it was a good episode the first time.
Really, I think we could have been slightly better, but I see where I fucked up. So, for example, before it looked like I had a poor belly, now I have a pillow. So,
Nice.
it's the small things in life,
True. So I'm not going to introduce the topic just yet. We're going to have the icebreaker and then we'll kind of just flow into a conversation.
Yeah.
But essentially, actually, you guys just listening to find out the topic. So, Kelvin,
Yes.
icebreaker time.
Okay.
So I'm going to create a situation and tell me what you would do in this situation.
Okay.
Let's say you got engaged or you're engaged,
Okay.
right? And the person you're engaged with,
2.
engaged to, my bad.
Yeah.
Engaged to cheats, right?
Yes.
Would you collect the engagement ring back or would you have her keep the ring?
I think I'm the wrong person for this question, given that you know who I am. Like, cheating, that doesn't really exist in my vocabulary.
Oh,
in
yeah,
general.
sure.
So, like, what do you mean cheating? Like, if she had sex with someone else, I guess she had sex with someone else. Does she still love me? I think that's the bigger question.
This is why this is actually a good icebreaker. Explain yourself.
Um,
Explain further. So why would the cheating not be a big deal?
for me personally, right? First of all, I think a lot of things that we do today in relationships is a social construct, right? The reason why we think cheating is such a big deal is obviously someone is breaking whatever you think trust is, right? And for people, that's the biggest part of it. Is like, you're breaking my trust. I had a trust in you to not cheat or to not do this, and you broke my trust. But for me, I think things happen. People just live their lives. Things happen. You might see someone and unexpectedly just go home with that person. Everything is possible, right? That's what I believe. It doesn't have to be happening all the time, but I think everything is possible. So when I get into relationships, I think I draw that structure out for people. I'm like, look, I'm here to be in an open relationship. You can do whatever you want to do. Like, it's your life, it's your choice, right? At the end of the day, what matters to me is that you love me and I love you. So if you make a mistake, you let me know and we'll move on with our lives.
Okay, so essentially Kelvin is saying he's down for open relationships.
I'm not saying I'm down for open relationships. I'm like, that is, in my head, that is what relationships should be. I don't believe in one person is for one person. Like, what does that mean? That is why people go through the relationship, and when one person leaves, they're like, "Oh, I wasted all my time, life with you." That's what creates that foundation. Because when you put so much burden on a relationship, then everyone is going into the relationship expecting something, right? Relationship is not for expecting something. Relationship is to build. And I think that is, at least that's what I believe relationship is for, is to build together. Like, how can you do you whilst I do me, whilst we help each other become the better version of ourselves? Please, audience question.
I believe this world is governed by expectations. We are expected to go to work. We're expected to pay our bills. You know what
Louder.
I mean? So it's only natural to have expectations, right?
Yes.
So especially in our relationships with people, right? The normal things are expected. It's expected to be good, like
Mm-hmm.
siblings. Expected to be good parents.
Yes.
Expected to be good people. You know. So
Yes.
it's the same as relationships, right? It's not unconditional love in relationships. It's
Mm-hmm.
conditional, and it's conditional based on how you treat that person,
Person.
right? So that's why I think like the world in general is governed by expectations. We can't run away from that.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think
it's
you're,
just
in a sense, still supporting the arguments that you are allowed to do whatever it is you want to do, and you're allowed to be who you want to be. The expectations there is, do you love me? The expectations there is, do you care about me and the relationship? And for me, I think that is the only expectations I expect from you as my significant other. I don't need you to fit into a bubble for you to be with me, more or less. Like, some people are in poly relationships, they have multiple partners. Some people are in open relationships, some people are in isolated monogamous relationship. Like, all of those things are very relevant to who it is. The same way earlier we're talking about gifts given and how everyone is innately different in the way they appreciate things. That's the same way everyone is uniquely different in the way they want to govern their relationship. I don't believe that the world and the structure that the world has given us is technically the right structure. I think it's what society has pushed on us, and because we are just innately drawn to what society has pushed on us, a lot of us just follow that trend rather than exploring for ourselves or finding other things that might be suitable for us.
I don't necessarily think it's something that society has. Okay, yes, there are societal standards, yes,
I think it's
and
all
there's a way people
society's
say,
standards.
"Oh, this should be done, this should be done." But
Yes.
I'll say, like in the Western parts of the world, which
Yes.
is here,
Mm-hmm.
America, if you're in an open relationship, it's not really seen as a big deal. I feel like if we were in Nigeria and you were saying this, is everybody like, what is
I
going on?
actually, first of all, let's take a step back, right? With Nigeria, right? First of all, Nigeria is pretty religious, right? So most of the people you're going to meet in Nigeria are governed by the Bible or governed by the Quran, right? Not a lot of people are outside of that bubble. Bear in mind, I didn't grow up Christian or Muslim. I grew up completely different from all of that, right? So I've never really been governed by the same things that most Nigerians have been governed by. The same thing when you come to the US. I've never,
But I know I'm
yeah,
interrupting,
that's fine.
but
Yes,
okay, so let me give you a background on Kelvin and feel free to correct me if I'm
yes,
wrong. But Kelvin, you were born in Nigeria, right?
yes, I was
He
born in
grew up
Nigeria.
in Nigeria, then he moved to Ghana and lived in
Yes,
Ghana.
yeah.
And then you moved to the US. How old were you then?
So I lived in Nigeria for close to 2 decades. So around when I was 19, that's when I moved to the US. I was in Ghana like briefly for school, so I
Okay,
go back quite often.
so what I'm
Yes,
trying to establish here is a good part of your upbringing.
yes,
You were in Nigeria. So
yes,
basically, you've absorb the culture. So
yes.
I think that yes, Nigeria is a religious country,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that there are people who are open to this idea, maybe probably do it because there in Nigeria, like there's some people who are married, but
Yes.
the husband is sleeping around or
Mm-hmm.
maybe the wife is sleeping around. So I think
Yes.
that these
Actually, it's
things,
it's very very common, not just in Nigeria. It's common everywhere. Like
yeah,
the rate
but
of cheating and the rate of divorce is increased everywhere. It's only like in Nigeria we don't track it as often as people in the US would track it, right? And all of this still stems back to the fact that we are treating relationships and marriage the same way we treated it maybe 200 years ago. Like nothing has fundamentally changed, and the reason why is because we are following rules and regulations that were created before our time. We have not. It's just now that people are slowly deviating from that construct, and people are saying, you know what, I want to be in an open relationship. You know what, I want to be gay. You know what, I want to have other multiple partners. Like it's until recently that has become more of a thing, right? And people are starting to look into it. But if you go back in time, it was just a man has to marry a woman. We have to be
No,
governed by
that's
this.
actually incorrect, because back in time, at
Yes.
least, okay, don't let me use myself as an example,
Okay.
but back in time, and I'll even say Nigerian families, like you
Yes.
see that, or maybe their dad's dad had like 8 wives, 12
Yes.
wives. So
Yes.
there's wait.
Yes.
Wait. So there's been people who've had multiple partners and done, things like that. Even in Nigeria, there's still now. And here too. I feel like
Yes.
it was even more in America, that it was more of
Okay.
a monogamous. I feel like in African countries, polygamy is common.
But
Wait.
you are
wait.
coming from a fact that is still a governance, that is still a social structure that was put into Africa in general. Like the Bible or the Quran allows you to marry multiple wives. Even the Bible, before the Bible came around, and most African, native Nigerian / native African cultures were okay with men marrying more than one woman, right? But an open relationship is not about a man having sex with multiple girls. It's about you having the freedom, either the man or the woman having the freedom to pursue other things whilst also loving and caring for someone, their main person. Does that make sense? This is not something that has been socially constructed from like 200, 300, 400 years ago. This is pretty new. The one man marrying multiple wives. My grandfather married 7 wives. My father married maybe 2 wives. Like all of those things are social constructs from culture, from religion that has been in the country for eons.
No, I'll actually say that that's actually an American thing. Where here,
Yes.
it was more of a one man, one wife, and that's how they did things. And now they're exploring. I think we should limit
I
it to
think
maybe
Christianity
here,
also
because
does
I
that,
think
right?
that if we shouldn't even maybe bring in African countries, because I can't remember the exact culture, but if I remember, I'll clip it in.
Yeah.
And in that culture,
Yes.
and I know we're saying that okay, open relationships
Yes.
is, the woman
Oh
has
no, there are cultures even in Africa.
things.
There are actually
Yes,
cultures
and
in Africa
women
that
were
are
allowed
open.
to marry multiple husbands.
Yes.
Whoever they
Yes.
want. I
Yes.
think it's
But-
maybe more an American thing.
No,
but
no.
wait,
Actually, there are cultures that allow that. Don't get me wrong. Even in Africa, there are cultures that allow that. But I'm saying that a lot of these cultures were more like a lot of the cultures that we are familiar with, especially from Nigeria and let's say other West African countries, is coming from a place where the man is allowed to do that, but the woman is not given the same luxury.
no, but I'm saying that there are African cultures
No.
where the
There
woman's
are,
allowed
yes,
to do
there
that.
are African cultures that is also.
And I know
a
we're
thing.
saying they are. If I remember, I will put it
yes,
in or in
there
the
are,
description.
I'm not even joking. Like there are cultures where that's actually
Mm-hmm.
a thing. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not the norm. It's not something that is prevalent where we came from, right? It is completely different. Right, it's not a new concept. Like open relationships and doing all of these things is not a new concept. It's just rebranded as open relationship, but the concept
Okay.
itself it's not new.
Okay.
It's just
I
not
agree.
a social construct that meaning the society hasn't pushed it on us. Yes,
Okay.
that's all I'm saying.
Okay. So essentially, Kelvin is saying,
So to answer your original question, if my wife or someone I was engaged to,
but
was
you
to
wouldn't even be
cheat,
married because you don't believe in that. Is
yes,
what
I
I've learned
it's
so
also
far.
a social construct, like I said. It's all the things that society wants you to do, right? So society wants you to do this. Society wants you to date one woman, get married, have kids. That's the societal norm, right? But the truth of the matter is, anybody can do whatever they want. You're an independent person. You have your own mindset.
No, I think that everyone can do what they want, right?
Yes.
That's not
You
like
meet
an
someone.
issue.
You meet someone who understands where you're coming from. You meet someone who understands your dynamic, and if the person is willing to love you with all of that, then what's the issue, right?
But you think that someone can fully love you, but yet have other relationships with other people. So where do you draw the line, and it becomes like, because doesn't wait.
Have you ever heard of? Finish.
Let me construct this question.
Yes.
So I'm not disputing that. Oh, open relationship. Like, okay, fine,
Yes.
open relationships, right? But in an open relationship, where is the line drawn? Because at least in the common form of relationship where you don't have multiple partners, you stick with just one partner.
Yes.
People draw the line when it comes to like cheating, and cheating
Yes.
can be emotional, sexual,
Yeah.
but usually people are more stern when it comes to sexual cheating. In open relationships, how I think of it is that, you can have, like,
So
basically the
can
whole
I?
emotional connection should just be
Yes.
between the two of us.
Yes.
But when it comes to sexual partners, you can
In
have
that in
multiple.
that
Is that
case,
correct?
yeah. So in that case, when you're thinking about it, right, the emotional cheating would be more prevalent or be more significant than the sexual cheating, right? So if someone was to emotionally cheat on you, meaning that they are having partners who are interacting with them in a more emotional manner. This is not just about sex. This is more about communication that you're not involved with, right? Now that is seen as something more dire, because you're what your actions at that point is detrimental to the relationship that we are creating. Does that make any sense?
That makes sense. So if you know, okay, so in an open relationship, you can have sex with multiple partners, right?
Yes.
So in the event that somebody does have sex with another person and gets pregnant, but you and that person already shared children, so how does that impact that open relationship?
Okay, first of all, we do live in a world where there are like a billion types of protections, and like if you're not wearing a condom or if you're not doing it that way, there's plan B. There's
Or
so
even
many.
if you got someone
Or
pregnant.
if you got someone pregnant, there's so many different ways to remedy that, right? That's the first thing, right? Second of all, most open relationships, like regular relationship, has rules and regulation, right? If I was in an open relationship, maybe one of the rules and regulations that I will have would be, if I'm having sex with someone else, I would always wear a condom or something along those lines, right? So
Right.
that can be a rule. Or if I'm in this relationship, I have to prioritize our relationship over this other relationship. So
Right.
you're not trying to be more emotionally invested in whatever you're doing outside, right? So all of that are more or less remedies and rules and regulations. And like every other relationship, the reason why open relationships is more significant in that sense is because it's so finicky in its own right. So there is so much rules and regulation that has to go into governing it, so that someone doesn't feel left out in that case. So you're not just getting into a relationship and telling, oh, you can't cheat, you can't do whatever you want. I am your new significant. I'm your new significant other. That's all that matters, right? And you guys never talk about anything else, right? And that is basically the relationship. But in an open relationship, it has to be more. There has to be more conversation. You guys have to talk about the emotions. You guys have to talk about the mindset. You guys have to draw up a plan, because at that end, it's more unique in that sense.
So it sounds like me, an open relationship is more of the more common relationship, except you can just have sex with multiple people.
Yes, more or less.
But what does that say about people in open relationships? Does it just mean that they just are sexually, I don't know, what's the word for it?
Sexual deviance, sexually hyped. I don't know. I don't think so. I think
Because it seems like you're having a full on relationship. We're just saying you can have sex with other people because we think that, or you people in open relationships think that sex is just sex.
yes,
and it doesn't matter.
But sex is just sex, though. I think we as a society puts this emphasis on how important and how significant sex is. But at the end of the day, when you actually break it down, obviously some cultures and some religions frown against it. And look, I'm not here to tell you what religion to support or what to do with your life, right? But because of the society in general that we live in, creates this pattern of, and this adds a massive significance to sex, right? Human beings have subconsciously put sex on a pedestal. Right? That's the same reason why people think sex is a gift, or the same reason why people think sex is such a prevalent / emotional thing, is because we've attached so much emotion and so much mind construct to it. So now sex
But
is
how
such a
can we
big
say
thing.
sex is just okay? So quick disclaimer to everyone. First off, if you guys think open relationships is the way, put your comment in the comment section.
Actually, I don't think this was the topic we planned to talk about.
This is not the topic, but
but why not? I think it's more interesting.
I
than
think
anything
this
else
is fun. I think
talk
this is
about.
fun. Why
Okay,
not?
fair enough.
And I think that this is even a good way to start because I didn't want
Fair,
to.
yes. So whatever the topic is, we can talk about it next time. Let's break deeper into this.
Yeah. So you guys put in the comment section what you
Yes.
think about open relationships,
Yes.
right? And also, disclaimer: I'm not saying people should have open relationships. I actually don't advise it, and I actually do think that
it's
sex
weird.
is important. No, let's get into sex because you basically just spoke about sex is not that deep.
Yes.
Let me finish this question. You're like, sex is not that deep.
Yes.
You know, it's just sex. It's
Yeah,
not really a big deal.
It's not
But
that deep.
can we really say sex is not?
It's not.
Yeah, no, serious. It's actually that deep. But can we
It's not,
say
but
it is? It is. But
Is
can
it
we?
that deep?
How can we say sex is not that deep? Because I think that. Not me talking about sex. God, my parents don't want to say so. But how can we say sex is not that deep? Because first off, I feel like it's like I think sex deepens or strengthens people's emotional connection to each other. Because how would we say sex is not important? Like there's some people
Okay,
because
wait.
people are like
I have a
stigmatized
question.
or people are
This is a good question for you, actually. Okay, please, all you church people, right?
Church
you
people.
get married.
Or how did church people get into this?
No. It's very important. You get married without having sex. You wait till get married before you have sex. Are you trying to tell me that if sex creates a massive bond, right, that has not been created, then why are you waiting that long to have sex? Right, that means you're marrying someone with no real bond.
About it, right? If you think about it, there's some people who are in relationships and they know maybe they're not really interested in that person, and they know the relationship is just sex because the sex is literally what's keeping them together. If you take out the sex from the relationship, there's no relationship, right?
Yes.
So they say hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, they hold on the sex part because you don't want to be clouded by just, the feeling you have with the person when you have sex. You want to actually be able to make a connection with the person apart from sex. Because the thing is, when you have sex, sometimes it's like, you're not feeling the person, but it's just like, I just want to have sex. And then you guys just keep having sex. And then it just becomes a whole situationship where you don't know, do I like it?
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I've had friends that be saying some things.
Let's talk deeper into this. As someone who has actually had the sex that you are talking about, right? Every man would know about this. Every man knows about this. It's called post-nut clarity, right? Where you come and then everything in that situation. If you don't like the girl, you're more or less kicking her out because it's not you don't like her. You just wanted to have sex, right? So first of all,
also you guys, when he says clarity, he's essentially saying
I think
when they perform the act, some people don't know. You can't assume.
Who is watching these videos like they've never had sex before? Anyway, so back to what I'm saying, right? So if you right, let's.
I'm actually starting to think, am I gonna post this episode?
No, I actually think this episode is very, very important.
I'll be like open relationships question mark. Sex,
the thing is, I'm not trying to convince other people to be in an open relationship. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to convince other people to be in an open relationship. I'm just clearly stating the obvious, right? If sex is so important, right? Most guys just have post-nut clarity, meaning they have sex and then they don't like you anymore, right? The truth of the matter is that for men, this is not women, this is for men strictly. For men, right, it can be a bonding moment, or it can be a moment of clarity, right? So if you put that into a platter, like you understand that I can have sex with someone and all I'm just doing is posting, like I'm just having sex and it doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay.
Right? But on the other hand, if I had sex with someone that I really, really like, right, there is more of a connection. I want to cuddle the person after. I want to be in that bed with that person. Right? So if you're talking about a bond from that process, then yes. But the bond is not because of I had sex with you. The bond is because of I love you. The bond is because of there is a feeling, there is a connection there. The sex
Are you
is just
telling me that if you... I think that it's a risky game. Let me just put it that way.
Look.
I think it's a risky game, and I would not say that, partake and just
See,
do with
I
different
can't,
people.
I can't talk about.
I'm not in support. I just want that to be clear.
Yes, I can't
Okay.
talk about. I can't talk about the general population because I'm not the general population. I'm one guy.
Yeah.
Right. One guy cannot speak for the masses. Like it's ridiculous. Right. So if I can't speak from the women's point of view, I can't speak for the point of view of all men. Right, because I have seen multiple men who are okay with one partner, no issues. This is their one person, right? Then I've also seen men who are like, oh, I want to go do whatever the fuck I want, but I don't want my partner to do whatever they want, right? But
Yeah, there's some guys like that, actually.
yes, exactly. But that is not what an open relationship is. That is you just want to fuck around so you can be single, right? But an open relationship is not that. An open relationship has a bond to it. And that
Right.
bond is not established by sex. That bond is established by emotions and communication and by spending time with that person. Do you actually like this person? Right? When you're having sex with a person, you're just having the sex with a person. It's sex. Right? It has absolutely no bearing to your relationship, right? And that's the first point you have to start with, right? Because there are multiple people. Like, are you trying to tell me that those husbands in Nigeria 50, 60 years ago who had multiple wives, they didn't like all their wives equally, or at least they didn't like 2-3 of their wives? No, that's not the reality, right? They most likely liked some of them.
Are you capable of liking multiple people? I think that it's possible to like multiple people.
Yes.
However, when you are in a relationship, because let's even use the context of open relationships,
Yes.
right? You can't tell me that you would not meet somebody who you speak to and you guys are like on the same intellectual level and you guys are vibing.
Yeah.
If you keep that conversation on, that will be you
Emotionally
cheating
yes.
on your whoever it is that you're with.
Yes.
So when it comes to, I guess, seeing somebody who's attractive or finding somebody who's attractive, you will find. But the thing is, when you're in a relationship, there's just a line, right?
So,
when you know you're about... No, because...
So what you're saying technically, because if
So
you're
what
talking
I'm
about,
saying
if you're talking about
is that when it comes to... Even let's even say open relationships and like cheating emotionally, like you will, if you are serious, you can find. But the thing is, you have to mentally put it in your head, you're not gonna find. And I feel like it's the same. It's the same control. It's the same control that is required.
Why do you think people divorce? Why do you think cheating is such a prevalent thing? Right? Because no matter who you are, if you like, be the best person on the planet.
That's what I'm saying.
At some point, you might see someone who tinkles your fancy. Most times it's just because of sex. It's not even because of you guys are communicating on a deeper level. It's easier.
I'm saying that the way you're saying, because there are people who are in seriously, they all
But
like okay, let's not even use open relationship. Let's just
Yes.
use standard relationships,
Yes.
right? There's like standard relationships.
Okay.
Don't even say standard relationships
Do you
because
know
it's not
that
making
it's
look like
easier?
I'm
Do you
dissing
know that
open
it's
relationships.
easier? Do you know that it's easier to find someone to just want to have sex with than cheat emotionally?
Because cheating emotionally, you're invested, right?
Uh-huh.
But
So
I'm
think
saying that
about-
I'm
think
trying
about
to
that.
explain
Think-
to you.
think about
wait,
that, right?
no. I'm trying to explain to you that even in an open relationship,
Yes.
cheating can still happen.
Yes, cheating
In
can happen
a-
no matter what. That is why you have rules
Common
and regulations.
relationship, cheating can still happen.
Yes.
It all boils down to self-control, and also
Look.
sex is actually important. Don't let Kelvin deceive you and tell you sex is just sex is not just sex.
Okay. Let me say something, right?
No, because I feel like when you're doing that, it's like you're putting yourself on a slippery slope.
Okay, see. So,
You don't know.
So
you
wait,
just
wait,
might
wait,
fall.
wait,
Why are you
wait.
letting yourself be tempted into forming another bond with somebody else?
Wait. let me tell you something.
Because guess what?
Wait,
That person. Oh, I was fighting
I
today.
love
Wait. Because guess what? That person that you're in a. Okay, actually, let me allow you. Don't let me be mean. You can't talk.
No. I like the fire. This is the fire I wanted to get out to you on the first vlog. I love
because
the
think
fire.
about
You know
it.
me. I love to
That
argue, so I like the
person that you're
fire.
in an open relationship
Yes.
with. What if comes the time you guys are fighting and arguing, and then let's say you go have sex with somebody else?
Yes.
Are you telling me that it's not possible for you? Because you know how sometimes you just vent, and you
Yes.
start venting to this person. Before you know, you call that person up again. Go do. I just think it opens you up to temptation as well. So
Okay, I like this, right? Okay, so you're saying that you and someone have an argument. There is a likelihood the person will just walk out, go and meet someone and have sex with. If it's happening, it will happen. It doesn't matter if it's if it's a regular relationship or if it's an open relationship.
no, I'm not saying that can happen. I'm just saying that you doing that puts you in a
It
more
is
slippery
no matter
situation
what,
for
it will
happen.
put you in that situation. Because no, if you're in a committed relationship, it will
No,
put you
but
in that
it's like-
situation. If you're in a distinct relationship, it's put you in that situation. But the difference is when you realize that you've made a mistake in an open relationship and you're like, oh fuck, I fucked up. What I wanted to just do was vent. Right now, you have to talk to your partner and explain to your partner that this is the situation. I had sex with this person. It didn't mean anything, but I did vent to that person, and I wish that I had not vented to that person. Right? There is still a relationship there, but in an irregular relationship, when that happens, that person tells you that they cheated, you break up, right? And it's done. Right? There is no you're trying redemption policies or you're trying to fix it. And if you're trying to fix it, since the idea of the relationship was a relationship built on being monogamous to each other, you're always going to have that in the back of your head that he's going to do it again. You're always going to feel that sense of, oh, he's going to cheat again. So guess what? That's why whenever someone cheats in a relationship, the relationship ends up getting fucked. Because both of you understand that this has happened, right? There's no way to fix it. And you are going to be seeing him differently from then, right? But when you get into a relationship that is an open relationship, your significant other already knows that this is the rules of the relationship. This is who we are in this relationship. If the person is not okay with that, you're not part of the relationship. We're not dating because you're not okay with it, right? So it's not a situation where you go and cheat and then the relationship is over. It's a situation where you go and cheat or you go and have sex with someone else. Sorry, I'm calling it cheating. It's not really cheating. But so you go and have sex with someone else. You come back to your partner, but you still try to fix it, right? Because your relationship is not based on sex. It's based on the communication that you guys are building together.
You guys, Kelvin has said his piece.
We're
We're gonna wrap up, this episode soon.
So,
but
the
say.
thing is, first of all, open relationships is not for everybody. We live in a world where it's just not for everybody, right? Some people are okay with a man having multiple wives and they are willing to be in that relationship if they think that there's a financial value, or back in the days when women didn't have a choice, so a man could marry 100 wives, right? This is similar, just different, right? An open relationship is understanding that you and your partner are one, right? And you guys are bonded with something stronger than sex, which in most situations, the emotion, which is the connection, right? And you guys understand that foundation, that fundamentals, that this is what your relationship is, right? Anything else is just an addition or a subtraction. Right? You're not cheating because you want an emotional connection, or you're not having sex with someone because you want an emotional connection. It's because you're a guy or you're a girl, you see someone who is cute and something happens, right? It's fine, right? But at the end of the day, you're still in this relationship with this person. This person is your one person. This person is the person that you might marry. This is the person that you might spend the rest of your life with. So if you are okay with that, then you're okay with it. If you're not, then it's not. It's simple.
Okay, well, thank you, Kelvin. Kelvin has dropped his thoughts, his views for us.
Yeah,
so
it's not for everybody, like I said.
I'm not, you know what? I don't even know if I'm like a conservative. I feel like I'm in between liberal conservative. I would say that
okay.
I wouldn't advise that someone be in an open relationship.
I wouldn't advise it.
And also, I think for me, it's, comes from being a Christian Christian standpoint.
Yes.
But also, even if I'm
But
not
it's
even
your,
being,
isn't-
even if I'm
even
even,
in Christianity, and they
even
men
if
that
I'm even
married
gonna
multiple wives in
say,
Christianity,
even if
and it
I'm
was
gonna
okay.
say that, I'm not going to touch on that. But
Yeah.
religion is for another day. But to round off,
Not going to finish
I wouldn't advise open relationships. I also think that sex is this deep, contrary to what Kelvin is saying.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to choosing a partner, you have to be very careful. What does I even want to say? And I know I said earlier, maybe I said from a Christian perspective, but if I'm not, let's say just for now, I'm not even trying to be like saying, oh, Christian, and I'm just trying to be plain.
Yes.
I think that even at that, I still wouldn't advise people to go for open relationships.
I don't think it's an advice stuff. I think everybody has their
No, I just
their
want people
part
to be
play in-
clear on my stance.
No,
on
they
this
are clear.
episode.
They are very clear. You've been agreeing
And
with me the whole
I
time.
don't think that go to A, B, C, D, E, F and be having sex. I don't even think it's.
I don't think that's what an open relationship is, but why not? I think you have a construct of what it is. I'm
Okay,
not the best
actually,
person to.
let me ask you about relationship because people might want to know.
I
So in
think-
your open relationship, how many since you've been with your actually no Kelvin's girlfriend, she's a very nice girl, beautiful as well.
yes.
So
Are we about here talking about my relationships or?
I mean, let me tell you, the people are curious.
They don't have to be curious. I think if you don't want an open relationship, you stay with someone who does not
It's
want
like
an
I'm
open
protecting my relationship. I ain't
If
talking
you
about
want
that.
an open relationship or if you want something along those lines, do your research. If it's something that's works for you, you do it. If it's something that doesn't, you move on with your life. Like, it's not everyone who is built the same way I am built. Like, we are not all the same, right? So there's no need to know a lot about me in that sense because it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't change your life. So
All right, thank you guys for listening
thank you
to
so
today's
much.
episode. Please,
This is a very unexpected an ambush of the highest order. Now I'm here talking about something that I would regularly not
you
talk
know
about
what?
because it makes no
You
sense for most
actually
people.
didn't answer that.
The initial question.
No, but because the initial question was, oh, if you propose, would you collect the ring back?
I'm not
So would you
collecting my
collect-
ring. I'm not collecting my ring back, except something. It's more dire than that. You don't love me anymore. Then I'm collecting my ring. But if it's just you having sex or maybe something happened, like that doesn't matter to me. It's more about the emotions and more about what you care about and if our needs more or less align.
All right, thank you guys for listening. If you're listening
Yep.
on Spotify, there's going to be polls. Please make sure that you put in a response to the poll that I put up. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe,
The poll will be
comment.
open relationship or no open relationship. 100% no open relationship. 0% open relationship.